Hello viewers, here is a Lasko WeatherShield box fan. This is the Lasko model 3720. And there's the other informations. It is from 2003 or 2004. So this is an earlier model, and perhaps more notably, this would have been one of the last couple of ones made before the recall, because I believe that transpired in 2005. I think, I'm not completely certain. And as you can see here, this is definitely one of the recalled models, as it does not have the infamous blue fuse plug. It has a white non-fused plug with corrosion, which is kind of peculiar. Now, allegedly, to fix the recall, all you had to do was obtain a free fuse plug adapter from Lasko, and then you could run the fan as normal, and allegedly it would be fine. So I suppose if you were paranoid, you could just plug the... maybe not paranoid, this was a legitimate thing. If you was concerned about running one of these things, you could just plug it into a fuse extension cord or something like that, and probably have the same effect. I don't know what the amperage of the fuse they used was. I don't really know anything about it. There's not a lot of information about the recall because this was kind of before the internet was really popular. It certainly existed in the 2000s, and people were starting to get computers, but it wasn't like it is today, where if something was recalled today, you could probably find tons and tons of forum posts, and you could find videos of people doing a tear down on the product and showing what's wrong with it, and so forth. But in 2005, not so much. But I bring that up because I don't really know if these fans are intrinsically dangerous. I believe it was said that there was something about the insulation of the windings deteriorates and causes a short condition, which would result in a high power draw, which is why the fuse plug would save it, or save you from it. But I tend to think that those failures were a result of neglect or misuse. I know there was a lot of commentary about one that was used in a barn, and chances are it was used in extreme heat, extreme filth, the motor was blocked up, and there's no air moving through it, and so of course it's going to fail. Now, it shouldn't fail with fire, but I think if you was to keep these clean, keep the motor blown out with compressed air so the dust doesn't build up, and keep the blades clean and everything, I don't think that these are really that dangerous. At least that's my 2 cents. I can't prove it, and I have really no information to back it, but I would think if the motors were really intrinsically defective, it would have been more than just a fuse plug. It would have been a get rid of the thing or send it back, recall, but it wasn't. So this one is missing the handle, which is pretty typical. These handles are known to break. Such a simple piece of equipment, but they can't seem to make it right. By some miracle, it still has the feet, and they don't even appear to be broken at all because they still stay in place. Looks to be relatively low hours. Speaking of the motor being kept clean, the motor is pretty clean. The blades are relatively clean. It's been sitting somewhere grungy, maybe in a garage or a basement. It's got some rust and who knows what else, but that looks like mostly surface rust. I think we could sand it down and repaint it and it would be fine. The blade seems like it's horrifically out of balance. Maybe not. So this one is very thick, as the earlier ones were, and unlike the ones made now, or more recently, I think they don't make them anymore. There's plenty of space between the guard and the blade so it doesn't hit. I can get a better look at that somehow, maybe. and it's still got the little nub on the front of the blade like the old ones did. I guess it's some kind of a molding feature, you know, when they poured the mold or something. Or maybe that was there so that if the guard hit it, it wouldn't hit the blade. I don't know. Could have served a purpose, or it could have been left over from the molding process. I'm not sure. Anyways, let's go ahead and plug this thing in. We can get 120 volts right on the nose over to the amps. And we'll start it up on the low. It's moving quite a bit of air. These were very powerful fans. These were definitely what I would consider to be the last like really good plastic box fans. These earlier PSC motors were very powerful still. Now, unlike the Marco motors though, these didn't have a really nice slow low. This low is pretty fast. Power information is 0.61 amps, 73 the watts with a power factor of 0.99. 0.6 amps for this amount of air I think is pretty reasonable. It's a very steady and strong stream of air. And it's noisy, but it's not crazy. I think it's a reasonable amount of noise for the air moved. Okay. Now we'll go to the medium, or the number 2. And that is easily the high speed of the ones made more recently. It really is impressive how powerful these things were. Very, very good air velocity. And the balance is actually really good. It's almost perfect. So I guess at one point Lasko knew how to make a blade, although apparently they have totally forgotten. 0.82 amps, 97 the watts, with a power factor of 1 on the nose. Very powerful air movement. And the high. It's shaking a little bit now, but it didn't feel that bad. No, it really doesn't feel that bad at all. I don't know why it's shaking so much. Power information. 1.12 amps, 125 watts, with a power factor of 0.93. I don't know why it's so low on high. And this just moves a tremendous amount of air. I'm glad I found one of these because I remember always wanting one back in the day. I remember seeing these around quite a bit when they first came out, and they were good fans. And the bearings are still pretty free. As one thing I'll give these tuna can motors that they've been using, the bearings did seem to last quite a long time. Okay, that's a wrap for this WeatherShield, It is shielding itself from the weather very nicely. It is operating in person. And I just need to get a handle for it, which might be a challenge because I don't think they sell these anymore. I used to just buy new ones to get the handle, but now I don't think that I don't think they make them anymore.